KM Entertainment, a leading Korean entertainment agency representing the country's top actors and actresses. Third floor, practice room. Ju Erin stood in front of the mirror, rehearsing her lines with growing frustration. She knew something wasn't right. "I know you don't love her, Professor Kim," she muttered under her breath, trying to get into character. "I can tell I'm making your heart race. Don't try to ignore me." "No, I'll make sure you won't be able to ignore me ever again. I promise." Her voice faltered, and she stopped herself, shaking her head. "No, what am I doing? This isn't right." She was completely overwhelmed. "How am I supposed to act out this part?" Erin sighed and introduced herself, almost as if to reassure herself. "My name is Ju Erin. I'm a newbie actress just starting my career." She paused, thinking about the challenges ahead. "Just as I was about to kickstart my acting career, I've come across my first hurdle, a kiss scene." Up until now, Erin had only experienced kissing through the TV screen, but now it was her turn to act it out. "I thought I'd be fine since I've seen it so many times," she reflected, "but I couldn't have been more wrong. To be honest, I still don't get it." The table read was coming up next week, and Erin knew she had to do something to overcome her anxiety before then. "If I don't figure this out, I'll end up inconveniencing the rest of the cast," she worried. "There must be a way to get over this." Suddenly, a familiar name crossed her mind. Who could help me with this, she wondered, when she thought of Kang Ha-Jun. He was not only one of Korea's top actors, but also the leading star in the Korean wave sweeping Asia. He was also going to star in the same drama that marked Erin's debut. "Ha-Jun Sunbae," she whispered to herself, feeling both excited and nervous. However, she was startled when she saw him enter the practice room unexpectedly. "Did you come here to practice for your role as well, Sunbae?" she asked, trying to stay calm. "Yes," Ha-Jun replied casually. "The lights in my office went out all of a sudden." So that's why you're here," Erin said, trying to keep her composure. "Well, make yourself at home, then. I should get going." Ha-Jun smiled, motioning for her to stay. "You don't need to leave because of me. Take a seat." Erin hesitated. Being in the same space as the agency's top actor was more than enough to make a newcomer like her anxious. But she couldn't refuse. "No, not at all. You've got it all wrong," she said quickly, her face reddening. "Well, if that's the case," Ha-Jun said with a soft laugh, "then take a seat." Erin sat down, but the pressure of being alone in a room with him was almost too much to bear. Just breathing the same air as the star made her feel stiff and nervous. Meanwhile, the latest gossip about Erin's performance wasn't flattering. A recent review criticized her performance, calling it one of the top 5 worst kiss scenes and noting that the director had given up on her. The harsh criticism stung, and Erin knew that she couldn't let it affect her. What kind of actor would want to jeopardize their role, she thought. I must be having trouble with my script. But she was determined to improve, especially with Ha-Jun's presence, pushing her to do better. Erin quickly tried to downplay her awkwardness. "And no, I'm fine. I was just yawning because I didn't get much sleep last night," she said, hoping to shift the focus away from her discomfort. Ha-Jun raised an eyebrow, sensing her unease. "Which part are you having trouble with?" Erin hesitated, unsure how to explain the real issue. "How should I explain this to him?" she thought, feeling the pressure building up. "That's way too much information. Gosh, just thinking about it makes me even more awkward." She fumbled with her words, trying to come up with a less personal excuse. "Oh, well, good luck then," she said, quickly brushing it off. "There's no way I can tell him that. I'll be running into him often." In an attempt to avoid revealing too much, she settled on a vague response. "I guess I'll just tell him that I'm having trouble with a random scene in the script." Ha-Jun, noticing her discomfort, offered his help. "Tell me. I'd be glad to help you out." Erin paused, wondering how to approach the subject. "Well, there's this new scene that was added recently. The one where you confess your feelings to the professor?" Ha-Jun guessed, his tone showing familiarity with the script. "Yes, that's right." Erin nodded, relieved he understood. "Has he already learned all the parts for the other cast members?" she asked, attempting to stay focused on the professional aspect. "Do you mind if I take a closer look at the script?" Ha-Jun asked, already flipping through the pages. Aaron watched, impressed by how effortlessly Ha-Jun navigated the script. No wonder he's one of the best actors out there. Here, Ha-Jun pointed to a section. If you look over here, I confess my feelings to the professor and… He glanced at Aaron, who felt her nerves spike. Well, I try to seduce him and have to kiss him, but… Aaron repeated, unsure if she wanted to hear the rest. Ha-Jun gave her a knowing look. But you've never acted out a kiss scene before, right? Let alone kiss someone at all. Aaron's face flushed as her secret was out. That's what's been troubling you? Aaron's heart raced. I've ended up oversharing, haven't I? She immediately scrambled to cover her tracks. Jay, just pretend you didn't hear anything just now. I'll deal with this problem myself. But Ha-Jun wasn't done. Do you want me to help you out with that? Aaron froze. Excuse me? Just how will you be able to help me with that? She stammered. Ha-Jun gave her a teasing smile. You can learn from me. If it's okay with you, I can teach you how to kiss. Exhausted, Aaron collapsed onto her bed. I'm so tired, she sighed. With an early class scheduled for the morning, she knew she should get up, wash up, and go to bed. But her fatigue won out. I'll just rest here for a bit and wash up later. Her life had become a whirlwind since joining KM Entertainment 6 months ago. Originally a business administration student, her passion for acting had ignited unexpectedly after taking a drama class. She'd changed her major to acting, auditioned for KM, and now found herself trying to balance a packed schedule she could hardly keep up with. Her thoughts drifted to her upcoming lessons with Ha-Jun. She imagined his hand gently guiding her, his voice instructing her, put your hand here, tilt your head like this. She quickly shook her head, startled by her own imagination. I must be exhausted, she muttered, trying to clear her mind. Why am I cursed with such an overactive imagination? She groaned, deciding some chores would help her focus. Hours later, she felt calmer, reminding herself that Ha-Jun's intentions were purely professional. Kang Ha-Jun is one of the best actors in Korea, a perfectionist who has won almost every award, she reminded herself. There was no way he'd offered to help out of romantic interest. It was just to make sure she wouldn't ruin the scene. Determined, she vowed to stay focused on his lessons without any inappropriate thoughts. The next day, her heart raced as she greeted Ha-Jun. Hello, Ha-Jun Sunbae. Please, drop the formalities, he laughed. I feel like I'm back in the military. Oh, okay then, she replied, trying to hide her nerves. Have you memorized your lines? He asked. Yes, absolutely, she answered, hoping her voice sounded steady. They began the scene, with Aaron portraying Soo-yeon, confessing her feelings to Professor Kim. I know you don't love her at all, Professor Kim, she said, trying to project confidence. I can tell I'm making your heart race right now. Ha-Jun maintained his character's cold demeanor. I don't know what you're talking about. I need to prepare for my next lecture, so please leave. Aaron's voice grew intense. Don't try to ignore me. I'll make sure you can't ignore me ever again. I promise. She took a deep breath, feeling flushed. How was that? She asked nervously. Ha-Jun looked thoughtful. It wasn't bad, but let's keep working on it. That wasn't very good, was it? Aaron asked, feeling her confidence waver. Ha-Jun raised an eyebrow, looking unimpressed. Confident, aren't you? But that was a bit of a mess, he replied. A kiss isn't just two lips meeting, there's more to it. Aaron blushed, stammering. I have done my research. I love watching romance movies, so I've seen plenty of famous kiss scenes. She even admitted, a bit embarrassed, that she'd practiced kissing with posters and her pillow. Still, she couldn't figure out what she was doing wrong. Realizing he might have been too blunt, Ha-Jun softened. Don't worry too much. For out of the top 5 most loved kiss scenes were ones I acted in. I think I can help. Aaron perked up. So, who is the other actor on the list? Is that really important right now? He asked with a chuckle. Let's focus on your scene. Aaron's heart raced as he offered to demonstrate by taking on her role, showing her exactly how to deliver the lines. When he said, I like you, Professor Kim, his tone, gaze, and presence transformed entirely, making her realize the depth of his talent. She was in awe. Are you going to say your next lines? Ha-Jun reminded her, breaking her out of her trance. Embarrassed, she quickly fell back into character, delivering her lines with renewed focus. As they rehearsed, Erin began to feel the intensity of the scene and how a kiss might feel in real life. At one point, Hajun noticed her holding her breath. "Are you trying to suffocate yourself? You need to breathe naturally." Really?" she replied, flustered.
Yes.
"But now you have a better sense of what you need to do, right?" he asked encouragingly. They continued rehearsing, and to Erin's surprise, kissing seemed less daunting. She felt a thrill from each interaction, making her wonder if she was a natural-born kisser. Yet, part of her questioned if they needed to go this far. She considered stopping him but reminded herself of the challenge of her role, a woman tempting an engaged man. She needed to master every aspect of the scene. As they finished, Hajun looked at her with concern. "Are you okay, Erin? I might have pushed you too hard for your first day." "And no, it's just reality kind of hit me all at once," she admitted. She hadn't imagined her first kiss would be in an office under such professional circumstances, contrasting with what she once envisioned for herself. "Oh." Hajun looked at Erin and said, "How about we look at it this way? What we just did wasn't a real kiss, it was acting. This can't count as your first kiss since there was no real feeling behind it." He added thoughtfully, "I hope your first kiss is with someone you love, in a place you've dreamed of." Lost in thought, Erin barely noticed her friend, Sun Haeyoung, trying to get her attention. "Hey, Ju Erin. Why do you look so out of it? I've been trying to get your attention forever." Haeyoung, known as the loudest and most energetic person in their department, finally got her to snap out of it. Erin apologized, admitting her busy schedule left her with little sleep, especially with all the new lines she had to learn. She tried to brush off her distraction, but Hajun's words kept replaying in her mind. It was just practice for the scene, but somehow, she couldn't stop thinking about it. Although she had no romantic feelings for him, his charm and presence were hard to ignore. "Hey," Haeyoung teased, snapping her out of her reverie with a playful punch, "you sure are spaced out." Embarrassed, Erin playfully retaliated. "I was just copying your yawning face." The two friends laughed, easing some of the tension in Erin's mind. When Haeyoung asked if Erin had even seen Kang Hajun on set yet, she shook her head. "Not yet. Besides, I only have a minor role, so I won't be shooting many scenes with him." But her friend, undeterred, fantasized about inviting him to their school festival someday. In her mind, Erin recalled her first meeting with Hajun. She had nervously introduced herself. "Hello, Hajun Sunbae. I'm Ju Erin, and I just joined the agency. I'm excited to be working with you in this drama." She remembered how he'd smiled, saying, "I like that you're so full of energy." Erin had been starstruck. Hajun had an undeniable aura, captivating everyone with just a slight smile. She thought, this is what it's like to be in the presence of the country's top actor, and now, he was personally helping her improve her acting skills, even in a kiss scene. Just then, Haeyoung's voice jolted her out of her thoughts. "What's this about a kiss? Who did you kiss? Come on, you can tell me. I'm great at keeping secrets." Blushing, Erin quickly brushed her off. "You're hearing things." Later that evening, as Erin prepared for her next practice session with Hajun, her heart raced. She felt nervous but determined to do better this time. They practiced into the night, and Hajun finally said, "You've done great. You shouldn't have any problems filming that scene anymore." Even though the lesson was ending, Erin felt a pang of disappointment. She didn't want things to end like this. She hesitated, wondering if she should invite him to dinner to thank him for all his help. Erin stirred awake, blinking as she saw Hajun standing in front of her. "Hajun Sunbae," she stammered. "Was I dreaming just now?" She wondered, quickly realizing she must have dozed off. "I'm so sorry," she apologized, feeling embarrassed. Hajun gave her a reassuring smile. "It's okay. Just sit back down," he said gently. He hadn't been there long, but her sudden panic made her feel as if she'd somehow wasted precious time. "When did you get here, Sunbae?" "I just closed my eyes for a moment," she said in disbelief, frantically checking the time. "Oh no. Did you just get here?" Hajun chuckled. "I've actually been here for 2 hours. waiting. Erin's face flushed with embarrassment. I'm really sorry. You should have woken me up, she blurted, clearly flustered. There's no need to apologize. I was going over my lines, too, he assured her. Noticing her exhaustion, he added, You must have been tired. Trying to brush off her nerves, she mumbled, It's just so hot lately that I can't sleep well. But internally, she admitted it wasn't the heat. It was the kiss they had practiced together. To her surprise, Ha-Jun admitted, I've had trouble sleeping too lately. Erin's heart skipped a beat, her mind racing. Could it be for the same reason? Are you sure you're okay with tonight's lesson, Sunbae? She asked, concerned. If you're tired, you could go home and rest. Ha-Jun smiled. I'm fine. Let's get started. They began, and Erin focused intently, determined to do better. But when they practiced the kiss scene again, she couldn't shake the nerves, making mistakes similar to the ones she'd made before. Ha-Jun gently corrected her. Remember, it's not just about pressing your lips together. Suddenly, they heard voices coming closer. Are you sure no one else is here? She whispered, panicked. If anyone finds out I'm here with you at this hour. Her mind raced with the consequences. Gossip, the agency's response, and the risk to Ha-Jun's reputation. She quickly led him to a hiding spot, whispering, It might be a bit cramped, but we have to hide here. Listening nervously, they overheard a couple nearby whispering intimately, clearly unaware of their presence. Erin's face turned red as she tried to ignore the conversation, feeling acutely embarrassed. She glanced at Ha-Jun, only to realize how close they were in their small hiding place. She whispered, I'm so sorry for everything. For wasting your time, for dragging you into this situation, and for forgetting everything you've taught me so far. Ha-Jun looked at her, his expression calm. It's fine. You're not at fault here. And as for our lesson, he paused, a playful glint in his eyes. We can carry on with it here, can't we? Ha-Jun suggested calmly. We can continue our lesson here, can't we? Erin's eyes widened. I'm here, she stammered, feeling the tension of the cramped space. Ha-Jun chuckled, reminding her, as an actress, you shouldn't let these things bother you. But with their close proximity, Erin felt her senses heightened, the atmosphere almost too intense. Suddenly, a small noise escaped her. Did I just fart? She panicked. Just then, they heard voices nearby. Appa, didn't you hear something just now? One voice asked. The couple outside moved closer, and Erin's heart raced. Oh no, they'll find us here because of that. She felt mortified, her mind swirling with guilt for Ha-Jun's reputation. If he's caught up in a scandal because of me, she thought. But Ha-Jun reached over and gently held her hand, steadying her nerves. This place gives me the creeps. I'm leaving, said the woman outside, much to Erin's relief. The footsteps faded as the couple finally walked away. They're gone. I think we're safe now, Ha-Jun whispered. Erin sighed in relief, her embarrassment simmering down. I was so nervous. I thought I was going to die of embarrassment, she muttered, almost to herself. Ha-Jun smiled. It was like we were in a sitcom, he joked. Erin blushed, mumbling, You're just saying that to make me feel better. Despite her embarrassment, she couldn't help but smile at his humor. As the lesson drew to a close, Ha-Jun suggested they call it a night. It's getting late, and I think we should find a more suitable place to practice, he said. But we don't have anywhere else, Erin replied, sounding a bit disappointed. I'll look into it, Ha-Jun replied, pulling out his phone. Give me your number. Erin handed her number over, feeling both thrilled and nervous that she'd just shared her contact with him. As they stepped outside, Ha-Jun offered, Where do you live, Erin? I can give you a ride. She quickly declined, not wanting to inconvenience him further. No, it's fine. I'll catch the bus. Thank you so much for today, Sunbae. Please get home safely, she added with a shy smile. Walking home, Erin replayed the day's events in her mind. What a day. Haeyoung had pestered her. She had accidentally fallen asleep in front of Ha-Jun, and then the unexpected scare with the couple. And, of course, that embarrassing moment she wished she could forget. Determined, she thought, I'll make sure I'm on time and better prepared next time. Just as she was about to step onto the bus, a familiar voice called out, "Ms. Ju Erin?" Turning, she saw Ha-Jun's manager, Kim Do-eun, smiling at her. As Erin was about to head home, Kim Do-eun, Ha-Jun's manager, called out, "Looks like you're on your way home." "Yes, I got caught up with a few things," Erin replied, smiling. "Did you just get off work too, Ms. Kim?" "That's right. I'm exhausted," Kim replied. "Remind me, where do you live, Ms. Ju?" "Wangdong," Erin responded. Kim's eyes lit up. "Really? I live there too. I can't believe we're neighbors." "Oh, really? Are you taking the bus too?" Erin asked. "No, Kim called out to a taxi. "To Wangdong, please." Erin hesitated, thinking she could have taken the bus, but Kim insisted, "It wouldn't be right to leave you to take the bus when we live so close. Besides, we're both too tired for that." Kim assured her, "Don't worry about the fare." "Thank you so much." Erin thought to herself, "Ms. Kim is so kind, just like Ha-Jun Sunbae." A few days later, Erin arrived at Ha-Jun's home for their lesson, and her jaw dropped at the size of his house. "Hello, is this Kong Ha-Jun Sunbae's house?" "This is Ju Erin," she said, still in awe. Ha-Jun welcomed her with a smile. "You're here?" Erin was clearly impressed. "Wow, even the garden is huge. It's an honor to be here, Sunbae." Realizing how formal she sounded, she quickly added, "Oh, right. You told me to stop talking like that." Ha-Jun explained, "I looked for other places, but this seemed best. People would recognize me elsewhere, and the security here is top-notch. It's ideal for our lessons. If you're uncomfortable, though, we can hold the lessons at your place," he added. "And no, it's not that," Erin said, a little nervous. "It's just this is my first time in a man's house." "So you do see me as a guy then?" he teased. "Come on in." Erin stepped inside and offered him a small gift. "You didn't have to bring anything," Ha-Jun said, touched. "Thank you for inviting me to your home," she replied, glancing around in awe. The place was even more luxurious inside, complete with a swimming pool and elegant furniture. She couldn't help but wonder how much it cost to maintain. "How about a glass of wine?" Ha-Jun offered. "Oh, no thank you. I'm not much of a drinker," Erin quickly declined. "It's non-alcoholic, just grape juice," he explained with a smile. "Then I'd love some," she said, relieved. As they ate, Erin couldn't help but praise the food. "This is delicious." "Thank you," she said, savoring each bite. "I'm glad you like it." "Did you practice your lines over the weekend?" he asked. "I did, but it was hard getting into character on my own, so my friend Taki helped," she replied with a smile. "Taki?" he asked, puzzled. "He's my teddy bear," Erin laughed. "I got him for my birthday when I was 11. I thought Taki was an actual person," he admitted. Erin laughed again. "No, but he's the main character from the anime Saint Paw. You haven't seen it?" Ha-Jun shook his head. "Never heard of it," he replied. Erin started passionately explaining her favorite scenes until she realized she was rambling. "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm talking too much, aren't I?" Ha-Jun chuckled. "No, I enjoyed it." Erin watched him, noting how graceful he looked even with a simple glass of wine. "Maybe it's the warmth of the room, but I feel a bit flushed," she thought. Ha-Jun looked at Erin and said, "Let's see how much you've improved, thanks to your friend Taki." "All right now? Right here?" Erin asked, a bit surprised. "Yes, show me," Ha-Jun replied calmly. Erin took a deep breath. "So, what was it you wanted to tell me, Suyin?" she asked, slipping into character. Ha-Jun watched, impressed, as Erin effortlessly got into her role. She continued, "I like you, Professor Kim," but Ha-Jun remained firm. "Suyin, I have a fiancé." Erin, undeterred, replied, "It doesn't matter." Confused, Ha-Jun asked, "What do you mean?" Erin pressed on, "I know you don't love her, Professor Kim. Don't try to ignore me." Sensing the intensity of the scene, Ha-Jun responded, "No, I'll make sure you won't be able to ignore me ever again. I promise." What did you think?" Erin asked nervously, hoping for feedback. "You still have a long way to go," Ha-Jun said, his voice gentle but firm. Erin gasped. "Really? but I practiced it so many times. Hajun sighed. I'm afraid your friend Taki wasn't such a great teacher after all. Let's take it from the top. Feeling a bit disheartened, Erin thought to herself, I'll show him that Taki is actually a very capable teacher. Taking a deep breath, Erin began again. I am Ji Xian, and this man before me is my college professor, who I love. He doesn't love his fiancée. It's clear how tempted he is when I make advances toward him. Now I know what I need to do next to win him over. I need to kiss him. Erin finished the scene and asked, How did I do this time, Sunbae? But Hajun didn't answer immediately, and Erin grew anxious. Was it so bad that he's at a loss for words? She wondered. Trying to hide her nervousness, she added, Well, you can be honest, and tell me if you... But before she could finish, Hajun suddenly kissed her. Erin gasped, feeling the kiss in a completely different way than before. Wait, this isn't like the kiss we had earlier, she thought, her heart racing. This time, it feels like I'm kissing someone I'm truly in love with. She quickly realized that Hajun was still in character. I shouldn't break character like him, she told herself, but her heart wouldn't stop beating so fast. Meanwhile, back at home, Erin's older brother was being extremely overprotective as usual. He was calling everyone, trying to check on her whereabouts. Is Erin with you right now? He asked one of her friends. Yes, she's here, but she just went home, the friend answered. Erin's brother was persistent. How did you get my number? Erin picked up the phone, trying to sound casual. I'm fine as always. Just finished doing the dishes and was about to take a shower. She quickly added, I only picked up late because I was doing chores around the house. There's no need to worry. Gosh, he sure loves to nag, Erin thought, feeling a little frustrated. He probably would have given me an earful if I had answered a second later. She apologized to Hajun, saying, I'm so sorry for breaking your concentration, Sunbae. It's just that my appa is extremely overprotective of me. Hajun smiled. No, it was actually perfect. I don't think you'll need any more lessons. We should stop now. Erin couldn't help but feel confused by the abrupt end to their lesson. It was as if Hajun had been in a rush to finish things, and the warm atmosphere they'd shared at the start had suddenly turned cold. Did I do something to upset him? Erin wondered, feeling a sense of unease. One of her friends suggested, maybe he gave up because he thought you'd never improve. Erin frowned, unsure of what to think. But I did improve a little, didn't I? She asked herself. Then she wondered if perhaps Hajun had started feeling sick, as she remembered seeing him a little flushed when she left. But he wasn't the type to let something like that get in the way of work. Could it be, she thought, that he has a girlfriend? Her friends teased her, suggesting that maybe Hajun had too many lovers to care about something like that. But Erin quickly rejected the idea, knowing that this wasn't an ordinary lesson. There's no way he'd do something like that if he were already seeing someone. Before she could dwell on it further, she was interrupted by Ms. Kim and Ms. Ju, who appeared on her path. Ms. Ju, Ms. Kim. What a coincidence, Erin exclaimed. Did you have plans in this area? Ms. Kim responded, I was just visiting a friend nearby, but I'm on my way back from dropping something off at Hajun's place. Erin realized that she had nearly left at the wrong time. I could have ended up in trouble if I'd left a second later, she said, relieved. You're on your way home, right? Let me drop you off, Ms. Kim offered. Erin hesitated. Oh, you don't have to do that. You already paid for my taxi last time. But Ms. Kim insisted, and Erin gratefully accepted the ride. As they neared Erin's home, Ms. Kim noticed that something seemed off. Is something bothering you, Ms. Ju? She asked, concern in her voice. You look like you're worried about something. Erin hesitated. Was I being that obvious? She thought. She finally admitted, well, it's nothing serious, but I was wondering if Hajun Sunbae is seeing anyone. Ms. Kim raised an eyebrow. Are you planning to make a move on him if he's single? No. Not at all. Erin quickly replied, flustered. That's not why I asked. Ms. Kim, still curious, pressed her further. Then why did you ask? Erin stammered, struggling to explain without revealing her true feelings. It's a little complicated, she mumbled. Ms. Kim finally relented and answered, Ha-Jun isn't seeing anyone right now. His schedule is packed 24/7. There's no time for him to date. He's booked through the end of the year, and I don't think he'll have time for a relationship anytime soon. He's both a great actor and a great person. I'd say he'll be busy for at least the next 10 years. He barely gets one day off a month. Erin's heart sank. So, he gave up his precious free time to help me with my acting, she realized, guilt gnawing at her. But I haven't improved at all, despite his efforts. I can see why he'd be upset with me. Determined to make things right, she decided she'd apologize the next time she saw him. Her nerves kicked in as the table read approached. This is the first time I'm seeing him since that day, she thought, wondering how he'd been since their last meeting. What should I even say to him? Taking a deep breath, Erin prepared herself. Hello, my name is Ju Erin. I'm here for the table read, she said, trying to appear confident. The assistant greeted her. Welcome. It's great to finally meet you. Erin smiled, but her eyes scanned the room for Ha-Jun, who wasn't there yet. Since she'd arrived early, there weren't many people around. I guess I'll just go over my lines one last time, she thought to herself, settling in for the wait. Ms. Ju Erin, she heard a voice call. Erin nervously greeted Choi Do-bin, the actor cast as her lover in Swamp of Temptations. Do-bin, a rising star with a mischievous smile and a reputation for charming his co-stars, seemed at ease as he introduced himself. You're Ju Erin, right? You'll be playing Ji Suyeon, correct? He asked with a grin. That's right, Erin replied, trying to mask her nervousness. It's nice to meet you, Do-bin Sunbae. It's an honor to be acting with you. The honor is all mine, Do-bin said with a wink, his charm evident. Erin couldn't help but feel a little intimidated. He was known for his popularity and playful demeanor, as well as his reputation as the newbie actress hunter. Do-bin complimented her, saying, Wow, your profile photos don't do justice. I can't believe someone as beautiful as you is just making their debut. The talent acquisition team at the agency must have been slacking off. He continued, Feel free to ask me anything if you need help. Erin smiled awkwardly, but Do-bin seemed to be more interested in talking about his recent achievements. I've won another award, he casually mentioned as Erin tuned out, trying to process everything. Her thoughts were interrupted when she spotted Ha-Jun entering the room. Ha-Jun Sunbae, Erin said softly, eager to greet him, but Ms. Kim advised her against it. It's probably best to wait a little longer before you say anything to him. You'll have to wait quite a bit, she suggested. As Erin reluctantly took a seat, she couldn't help but feel a little self-conscious. I can't believe I got to kiss him multiple times at that. How embarrassing. The table read began, and Erin's nerves spiked when it was her turn. It's your turn to read, Erin, Ha-Jun said, his voice calm yet commanding. Erin panicked. I am so sorry, she stammered, but Ha-Jun smiled at her, his expression softening. She's cute even when she's panicking, he muttered. During a break, Ms. Kim approached Erin. I was wondering where you were since I didn't see you in there, she said. Erin explained, I had to make a phone call earlier. Ms. Kim then asked how her first table read went. I was so nervous. I didn't even know what was going on, Erin admitted. You're still new. Don't worry. No one expects you to get everything perfect right away, Ms. Kim reassured her. Relieved, Erin offered a small gift as thanks for the ride home the other day. It's nothing fancy, but please accept it, she said shyly. Ms. Kim protested, but Erin insisted. You didn't have to, Ms. Kim said, but finally accepted the gesture. Erin hesitated but then added, I actually bought one more for Ha-Jun Sunbae. Ms. Kim raised an eyebrow, clearly noticing Erin's lingering feelings. It seems like you were serious when you asked me about him the other day. Erin quickly denied it, saying, Not at all. I just feel bad that I didn't get to say hi to him earlier today. Ms. Kim encouraged her. Why don't you give it to him yourself? Erin was taken aback. What? I might be acting out of line if I do that. Not at all. You should definitely give it to him. You'll be working together from now on, Ms. Kim said, pushing her gently. Go on. You can do it. Erin gathered her courage and approached Ha-Jun. Hello, Ha-Jun Sunbae. It's been a while since we last met, hasn't it? She said, her voice shaky. Aaron greeted Hajuan with a nervous smile. It's been a while since we last met, hasn't it? She asked, her mind racing for something else to say. What should I even say to him? Hajuan smiled kindly. Good. What about you, Sunbae? I've been good. I just got back this morning from an overseas shoot, he explained, his exhaustion apparent. It was for an ad. Must be tiring for you, huh? Aaron, feeling sympathetic, responded, I'm fine though. I'm used to it by now. Her hands trembled slightly as she handed him a drink. Here you goes. Hajuan looked at the can, recognizing it. How did you know? This is actually my favorite drink. Thanks. I appreciate it, he said with a smile. Aaron wasn't sure if he was just being polite, as she thought he must have said the same thing to everyone. I shouldn't get ahead of myself, she reminded herself. Trying to ease her nerves, she asked, So, how is the table read? Hajuan paused for a moment, thinking. You were a little nervous at first, but you got back on track quickly. Just relax and do exactly as we practiced. Aaron was surprised by his kind words. I thought he was disappointed with me the whole time, she reflected, feeling guilty. Sunbae, I actually have something. Before she could finish, Dobin appeared, cutting her off. There you are, Aaron. How about we go over our lines for the second half of the reading? Okay, Aaron replied, though she wished she could have had a moment to speak with Hajuan. Thank you for the advice, Sunbae. I'll get going then. She sighed inwardly as Dobin rushed her along. Why did he have to come in now? As she and Dobin prepared for their lines, Dobin teased her. You must be the type who cares a lot about formalities. Aaron flushed. Me? She stammered. You don't have to call me Sunbae. You can be comfortable and call me Appa, but I don't feel that way around you at all. Aaron exclaimed. How could I do that when you're like a sunbae sent from the heavens? Dobin laughed softly. I thought we had already become close enough, he said. I guess being friends with your hubby is harder than I thought. Aaron smiled shyly. It's just that it takes some time for me to warm up to new people. Well, I'll do my best to make you feel comfortable around me, Dobin declared, full of energy. I'll make sure we're best friends by the time the dinner's over. Aaron hesitated, a little uncertain. Sure. Dobin's enthusiasm didn't let up. Don't tell me you won't be coming to the dinner tonight? Aaron was quick to assure him. I wouldn't dare. It's my first team dinner too. Of course, I'll be there. As the evening progressed, Aaron found herself feeling more awkward. Is he upset because I was being too loud? She wondered as Dobin moved between tables, keeping busy. Sitting at a table with some others, Aaron realized she hadn't seen Hajuan. I guess he went home because he was tired. Dobin, noticing her looking around, called out, Aaron, let me pour you a glass. We should have a drink together. Aaron was hesitant. But I can't drink. Still, she worried about spoiling the mood. I'll just have one glass, she said, trying to blend in. As the night went on, Aaron joined in the drinking games, though she wasn't accustomed to drinking. Actually, I'm not that good at it, she admitted, feeling her head spin. Everyone's like that at first, they laughed. You have to practice to get better. Cheers. But before long, Aaron was feeling unwell, her face flushed from the alcohol. I don't feel so good. Aaron, someone called out. What are you waiting for? We're starting the next game. Come on. There's no time to rest, someone added as they shoved her into the game. Feeling overwhelmed, Aaron tried to keep up. Sunbae, actually I. But Dobin was quick to encourage her. This one's for our adorable hubbies. He laughed and handed her another drink. Don't tell me you're going to decline when I'm offering you a drink. Let's have some fun together. Aaron shook her head. I can't drink anymore. Suddenly, Dobin came to her rescue, noticing her discomfort. The knight in shining armor, Aaron thought, grateful. Aaron was busy talking to some colleagues when Dobin approached her. Let me take it from here, he said. Where have you been? She asked. I was making my rounds and saying hello to everyone, Dobin replied with a grin. Everyone looks happy, thanks to Dobin Sunbae. I'm glad I got here just in time. Aaron couldn't help but laugh. You sure can hold your liquors. Dobin shrugged. I guess I can be a bit helpful sometimes, he said, his timing perfect. Thank you, Sunbae. You really saved me. Be nice and smile, Dobin teased as Aaron smiled back. He was quick to remind her, I guess I still have a long way to go until I become close with you. Aaron. Could it be because of my nickname? You know what it is, right? The newbie actress hunter. Aaron blinked in surprise. I do. But how did you get your nickname? Dobin laughed. We're all friends. No need to call me Sunbae. He leaned closer. You're just so cute. Because I don't give up until I become close friends with all the new actors, regardless of their gender. Thanks to that, I've made a lot of friends. I'm practically friends with everyone. Aaron shivered slightly. He scares me. A sudden phone call interrupted their conversation. Sunbae. Aaron excused herself. Excuse me, but I need to take this call. Dobin nodded. Okay, go ahead. On the other end, it was Haeyoung. How's your dinner with Kang Ha-joon going? Did you take any photos? Aaron hesitated. He's not here. Haeyoung was disappointed.
But why?
How would I know? I guess he hasn't finished all his work for today. It really is just like you said. He's hard to see even if you two are acting in the same movie. I was looking forward to seeing some photos of him. Aaron sighed. That's a violation of his privacy. I'm hanging up. Hey, you're not the only one who wants to see him, Haeyoung shot back. I do, too. Aaron's frustration grew. I heard Kang Ha-joon went to a shoot for an ad right after the reading. I guess he won't be coming here then. I thought today would be the day I finally get to sit and talk with him. So I was right, Aaron muttered, resigned. It's only natural for him not to show up if he's so busy. Later that evening, the team wrapped up for the day. Great work today, everyone. Get home safely, they were told. As they were heading out, someone handed Aaron a drink. Why don't you have this and try to re-energize a bit? Aaron looked at it and laughed. They gave you a truckload of drinks earlier today. I picked out the drink your favorite hubby gave you from that pile, the person said with a wink. Aaron raised an eyebrow. What are you talking about? The person grinned.
Come on. I've known you for years now.
I probably know you better than you know yourself. Suddenly, someone else spoke up. You make it sound like I have feelings for Aaron, but I'm only looking after her as her Sunbae. Sure, whatever, the other person replied, unamused. Enough of your excuses. Just watch the road. Will you? I don't have feelings for her, the first person protested. I was only trying to help her out of the goodness of my heart. Wouldn't want to help out a hubby who's as high-spirited and as passionate as her. The conversation turned quiet for a moment before the other person spoke again. Those lessons are over. Now we're nothing but ordinary colleagues. Then why am I? The first person muttered, trailing off. Kang Ha-joon, the other person snapped. Gosh, I can't believe how frustrating you can be sometimes. They shook their head, knowing the team dinner was coming up. That hubby of yours might become extremely close to her other Sunbaes at the dinner. Are you going to be okay with that? Aaron was sitting alone when Dobin appeared, looking concerned. Why are you sitting out here all alone? He asked. Sunbae. I thought you couldn't come today, Aaron responded, surprised to see him. Dobin shrugged casually. I should at least come say hi. I am the lead actor after all, he joked. You must be so tired though. What about you, Aaron? Didn't you have a lot to drink? You look tired. Aaron laughed softly. I didn't have too much to drink, it's just that I can't hold my liquor well. I got drunk because I kept drinking whenever they pour me a glass. Dobin smiled. Knight in shining armor to the rescue, he said with a wink. It would have been much worse if I hadn't helped you. Aaron nodded gratefully. I see. Sunbae, did I do something to upset you? She asked, suddenly feeling uneasy. I might be mistaken, but during our last lesson, Dobin raised a hand, cutting her off. I guess no one's hurt us. Aaron's face turned red as she realized what had happened. Gosh, I was being too loud, wasn't I? Dobin reassured her. I'm sure they didn't hear you. Don't worry about it. Aaron was still anxious. I'm sorry. Why are you apologizing? Dobin asked, looking puzzled. Aaron hesitated, then spoke up. You keep saying that you're okay, but you're not, are you? You seemed upset during the table read, and our last lesson ended so abruptly too. I was worried that I had done something to upset you. Dobin shook his head. What are you saying? You have no idea how well you've been doing. How could I ever hate you over such trivial things? Aaron let out a relieved sigh. So, it was a misunderstanding. Dobin smiled kindly, but then glanced at the space between them. But are we standing a bit too close right now? Aaron blushed as she realized how close they were. Are you all right? Dobin asked, noticing her flushed face. You've had too much to drink, haven't you? No, I'm fine.
Don't worry about me.
Aaron quickly replied, though she couldn't bring herself to admit that she was blushing because of him. To change the subject, Aaron began to think of an excuse. Aaron, tell them that you're going home, Dobin suggested, sensing her discomfort. Can I do that? Aaron asked uncertainly. But I just can't leave while the sunbays are still around. Dobin smiled knowingly. Don't worry. They'll want to go elsewhere to drink some more soon. There will definitely be some that will want to go home as well. You can leave with them, right? Aaron's face lit up. Oh, that's a great idea. She took a deep breath. I'll get some fresh air out here for now. I'll go inside and say hello to everyone. I wouldn't mind sticking around a little longer if Hajun Sunbae is going to be here too, Aaron muttered under her breath, her thoughts lingering on him. Act like a drunk in front of Hajun Sunbae. Dobin teased, raising an eyebrow. Aaron quickly corrected herself. I take it back. Soon after, Hajun arrived, much earlier than Aaron expected. Welcome. Dobin greeted him enthusiastically. What took you so long? I ended up coming after all, Hajun said with a slight grin. Hello, Hajun Sunbae. Aaron smiled widely, relieved to see him. You have no idea how sad I was to hear that you weren't here earlier. Please, allow me to pour you a glass, sir. Hajun, amused, waved it off. No, let me pour you one instead. I want to thank you for looking after Aaron in my place. Aaron blushed again at Hajun's attention, but he was already laughing. Let me prove my loyalty and respect for you by drinking it all in a single shot. We're close now, aren't we? Dobin teased. As the evening came to an end, Aaron reflected on the day. Gosh, he's really out of it, she muttered, watching Dobin leave. Aaron sighed contentedly as she walked home. Today was a really long day, but I'm happy that I got to see Hajun Sunbae. If only Hajun Sunbae felt the same way I did. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden voice. What are you even saying? She whispered to herself, shaking her head. I should start running before I miss my last bus. A few days later, Aaron was at her agency when a surprising figure appeared at the door. What are you doing here, Dobin Sunbae? She asked in confusion. Aaron's phone rang, and she quickly answered, hearing the familiar voice of her manager.
Chief.
You said it was urgent, so I thought there was an emergency. The chief chuckled. It's not like I lied or anything. KM Entertainment's chief manager is always hard to find, especially with 7 new actors on her plate. This is an emergency. Aaron's manager continued. Your Sunbae came to see you. Aaron was taken aback. How have you been? I guess one team dinner just wasn't enough, the chief joked. No, I'm just speechless because I'm so happy to see you. Aaron replied, beaming. But why did you want to see me, Sunbae? I came to help out my lovely co-star, who just took her first steps into the world of acting, Dobin said with a grin. I'm here to offer you a chance to practice your lines for the movie with me. I'm your co-star after all. Aaron blinked in surprise. The role I'm playing in this movie is Ji Seon, a university student who falls in love with the professor of one of her classes. And guess who plays the professor? It's Dobin Sunbae. Aaron had been practicing kissing scenes with Hajun, but it was Dobin, not Hajun, that she would be filming those scenes with. It made her feel strangely uneasy. In the movie Swamp of Temptations, Hajun's character falls in love with Professor Kim's fiancé and has no connection to Ji Seon's storyline. Aaron reflected that she wouldn't have even met Hajun if they hadn't been in the same agency. I've practiced this scene over and over with Hajun Sunbae, Aaron admitted, but now I have to act it out with Dobin Sunbae. His character is so different from him in real life. It's hard not to think about what he's really like. Dobin smiled knowingly. I'll be getting married in 3 months. This tension between our characters should be high, especially with the kiss scene coming up. I need to capture that moment when Ji Suyeon lets out her suppressed feelings. Aaron felt a pang of something. Was it jealousy? I think I can relate to how she feels. Dobin's gaze softened. Don't try to ignore me, he said playfully. I'll make sure you won't be able to ignore me ever again. At that moment, Hajun entered the scene, and Aaron's nerves spiked. Hajun Sunbae. It's an honor to see you here. Aaron greeted him. Hajun smiled warmly. You two are practicing hard. You must have really liked the script. Aaron blushed, feeling embarrassed for thinking about Hajun while acting. I'll do my best since you're the lead, Sunbae. Dobin laughed. And we have our little hubby, who needs our guidance in acting. I'm just so worried about her. Aaron felt a rush of guilt at Dobin's teasing, especially after making a mistake during the table read. Hajun noticed her discomfort. Is that why? He asked, giving her an encouraging smile. Dobin offered his feedback on their acting. Would it be okay for me to give you some feedback, Aaron? He asked gently. Aaron nervously agreed, knowing how important it was to improve. Hajun's words were kind. You've improved a lot. You seem more natural in expressing your character's emotions, and your diction was excellent. Despite the compliments, Aaron couldn't help feeling anxious. Thank you, Sunbae. I'll see you again later. Dobin's next engagement came up, and he had to leave. Thank you for your advice, Sunbae. I'll see you later. Aaron called out. You did great too, Aaron, Dobin said, giving her a warm smile before heading out. Great job today, he added. Aaron watched as he left, feeling determined to work even harder. She reflected on the day. Her practice session with Dobin had stirred up feelings she hadn't expected. Why did it make her so angry? Aaron sat alone, sighing as she practiced her lines. Her frustration was palpable. What are you sighing for? Her friend asked, flipping through a magazine. Annoyed, Aaron muttered. How else do you expect me to act when you're ignoring me like this? Her friend raised an eyebrow. What are you talking about? I wasn't even talking to you. I'm just practicing my lines. Aaron shook her head, immersed in her role. I'm so bored, she complained. You said you stayed up all night memorizing your lines, her friend reminded her. That's just the start, Aaron exclaimed. Memorizing lines is the easy part. Controlling emotions, being expressive. I still have a long way to go. And even if I'm lacking in other areas, I should at least make sure I don't mess up because I didn't memorize my lines. Her friend smiled at her passion. I guess you're so passionate because you're still new. Anyway, I'd appreciate your cooperation until the shoot begins. Sure, whatever, Aaron replied, half-heartedly. Then, the conversation took a sudden turn. Sun Haeyoung. Do you have any friends who want to go on a blind date? Her friend asked excitedly. Aaron was confused. Why are you acting like that all of a sudden? Let's go on a blind date, her friend urged. Aaron groaned. It's been less than 5 minutes since you asked for my cooperation, and now you're talking about a blind date? Her friend was insistent. This will help you act out a wider range of roles. If you're not cooperating with me, I don't know what else is. Aaron's curiosity got the better of her. Should I date someone? I've never really thought about it, but if I were to date, I'd want someone as handsome and kind as Hajun Sunbae. Hey, they say Kong Hajun is at our school right now, her friend added, clearly teasing. Aaron quickly shook her head. Why would I think about him that way? Her friend, unfazed, continued. Well, since you're working with someone like Kong Hajun, you probably wouldn't be interested in just anyone. That's not why I'm declining the blind date. Aaron protested. But where are you going? How am I supposed to attend class when Kong Hajun is here at our schools? Her friend grinned. I'm heading out, since I have no other way of seeing Korea's most handsome actor in the flesh, unlike a certain someone. But you'll get an F if you miss another class. Aaron sighed dramatically. I'm trapped in this school. In the end, Aaron decided to stay for the lecture, though she was torn about whether to go see Hajun after class. As class went on, she couldn't stop thinking about him, wondering if she should sneak away afterward. After the lecture, Aaron decided to use her free time to memorize her lines. But as she was about to leave, her friend caught her again. You need to practice your lines. I don't need to see the set, Aaron replied firmly, but I'll call you when I'm ready for dinner. Her friend, unfazed, left her to her practice. Later, Erin found herself at the shooting location. She was nervous, but the excitement of seeing Hajun on set was undeniable. She even brought a can of coffee with her, hoping to get a glimpse of him. But when she arrived, all she could see were the director and staff. Hajun wasn't there. Disappointed, she muttered to herself, maybe he's already done for the day. At that moment, she bumped into Ms. Kim, who noticed the coffee. Do you have a shoot today? Ms. Kim asked. No, I'm a student here, Erin stammered, trying to cover up her excitement. You stopped by to see Hajun, Ms. Kim teased. Well, I had some time before my next class, and I was curious about what a movie set looks like, Erin explained, flustered. Ms. Kim smiled. You're in luck. The shoot is about to resume. You can come with me if you want to take a closer look. Erin's face lit up. Thank you, she said, unable to hide her excitement. Finally, she was about to see Hajun act in person. As they walked to the set, Ms. Kim remarked, I knew you'd be here. You always bury yourself in books. I don't, Erin protested. I just like to read whenever I have time. Ms. Kim, clearly amused, nudged her. Well, maybe you should start taking an interest in other things too, like the handsome man standing right in front of you. Erin couldn't help but laugh. Despite all the chaos and confusion, she was excited to witness a real movie shoot and see her sunbae in action.